welcome to the Inspiring Inkin Facebook page. I'm Amanda Fowler. This is day 3 of the Autumn Winter Catalogue launch. How are we today? Let me know if you are here. I'll just check on my iPad. Yeah, looks like I'm live in the right place. We will have to wait and see. I wait for the picture to catch up with me. Oh, right, I'm a bit too tall today, hang on. Try that. Got to get my antlers in. Right, so let's have a look. Trish is here, Jackie's here, Chris is here. How are we doing? Hi Jackie. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah. We're back in Christmas mode again today. Yeah, there was no way I was going to do 3 lives and only one of them be Christmas. Now, come on. So how are we today? It's a bit warm here in Hampshire. Today, I just checked the thermometer in my office and it's 24 degrees in there. I had to brave the greenhouse earlier to go and get some tomatoes for lunch. And the tomatoes are warm. It's really weird, but delicious. So how are we doing? Joanna's here, Michelle's here, Faye's here, Mum's here. Hi Mum. Oh no, I forgot the flowers. Darn. What shall I do? I'll put a picture up tomorrow and show you all, because they're really cool. I remember my ears, but not the flowers. Hi Val. Marion is asking for a sourdough bread report. Well, yesterday's was the worst bread I have ever made in my entire life. It was awful. It was, I have taken pictures, but it was as flat as a pancake. It was about like 1 inch tall. It spread and spread and spread. It was doughy and gluey in the middle. It was, yeah, and it tasted vile. It was, it was so bad. But, bread 5 is currently on the cooling rack. So, I'm sorry for those of you that have come for crafting, we're just going to talk about bread just for a minute. Yeah, so Brian described it yesterday as making bread is like a straight line. You kind of follow the line and you do the things and you get the bread. Making sourdough is like this wiggly line that there are so many different things it could actually be wrong with the sourdough, that actually, you know, you tweak one thing but then you knock something else out. Yeah, it's not good. So I put the sourdough in my fabulous £3 bread tin for its second proof this morning. So it, you know, it could not spread all over the oven, and it's come out. But I'm not really very hopeful. So we'll see. We'll see. I think if this one isn't edible, I think that'll be the end of my sourdough journey for a while. And I'll go off and bake something else instead. So thank you for asking, but it's a disaster. So, Deb's here. Jackie is still reorganising her crafts. Does it ever get done? Honest answer, Jackie? No. I think organising your crafts is such a difficult thing because it kind of depends how many different crafts you do. Because the more crafts you do, the more difficult it becomes. Because you need everything for one type of craft together. And it does depend on your storage as well. So yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I am finding it a little bit now because obviously I've got all my paper crafting stuff, which is down in my office and in my studio. But because I crochet now, there are little bags of wool here and there, kind of tucked in a corner. So I need to organise that really, and I'm hoping when I move into the other room to set the studio up properly, I'm going to actually have space there for my wool and stuff, so we'll see. But yeah, you just have to kind of keep at it. One thing I would say though, Jackie, is get rid of stuff you're not using. We often hang on to stuff even though we really don't want to use those types of crafts anymore or do that type of craft anymore. And it's the same with stamps and papers. If you're not going to use them anymore, then give the blessing of them to someone else. There are lots of different craft shops, charity shops that take crafts now, or you know, the schools or the local voluntary units, that kind of stuff. Try that. Hi Belinda, hi Maureen, yeah, Chris, 24 in the house in Newbury as well. Hi Jen. Jen, I'm going to email you again later. Oh, Jackie's hanging out with us for half of the time because she's going to Skype with her mother-in-law in Scotland. Oh, that's really lovely. I think I'm hearing that quite a lot. Different people in you know, doing a lot more Skyping with their family, which is really good. And nursing homes and things are doing that as well. Hi Carol, hi Anne. Faye's at work, so she's not really here. Denise, hello. Hi Lynn. And Karen's just dashed in. She was having lunch in the garden. Yeah, we were sat outside actually. It's so warm. I love it. I love the warm. Okay, so what do I have for you today? I have answers. That's the first thing that I have for today. You see, you lovely, lovely people who come and talk to me asked me a question yesterday and I didn't know the answer. So I now have the answer. Love of leaves. We talked about this yesterday and we talked about the 5 different leaves and the fact that Stampin' Up had said that they were representative of the different areas that Stampin' Up is in. So one of the confusions really was why are there 5 leaves? Because there's the North America market, which is the USA and Canada. There's Europe, which is France, Germany, Austria, the Netherlands and the UK. And then the South Pacific, which is Australia, New Zealand and Japan. So that's 3 areas. So that kind of didn't make sense. And then we were trying to work out, well, is Japan on its own, or you know, are the North American markets on their own? I don't know. So I went on a bit of a magical mystery tour and found a bit of information from one of the head office team who gave us the list of the leaves. So these are not true. How can I say? These are an artistic representation of the leaf as opposed to a realistic. Yes, so it's an artist interpretation as opposed to a realistic drawing. So I've got the 5, but then I got really confused because a lot of these trees and leaves are native in different countries. Okay, so I'm going to run through them just because you were interested yesterday. So this one that I kept calling a maple leaf yesterday, I so know, really, it's a horse chestnut. Okay, so this one is a horse chestnut. Now horse chestnuts are native to the UK, but also the rest of Europe. So sweet chestnuts and horse chestnuts. This little cute one down here is a poplar. Now this is actually, a poplar is native to North America, Europe and Asia. So that covers everybody. This one here is a hawthorn. Now, hawthorns, I think, are just mainly Europe. I couldn't find any reference. So if any of my lovely North American friends are in the house, do you have hawthorns? And then this one is a beech or a red carabine. Now, the red carabine is native just to Australia and New Zealand, but the beech is native to Europe, North America and Asia. Go figure. And then this one, this has got the best name ever. It's a woolly rambutan. And that is Asia. So there you go. So they're all the leaves and they're all the things. And I promise I will never call that horse chestnut leaf a maple leaf again. I got emails. Yeah. I said I'm not a botanist. Now if Brian was here, he knows all about trees. If Kimberly was here, she's a biology student, she probably knows about trees. Not me. So, yeah. Claire's here, she's kind of here, but she's at work as well. Brilliant. Okay. So, right. So they're the leaves. Okay, so we are going to be talking Christmas, and I couldn't do this launch without showing you up close and personal the Poinsettia suite. And I know when I asked you on Tuesday which was your favourite stamp set, actually that one came up pretty much top. So I have got so many things to show you with this. It's, yeah, there are so many bits to it, so many elements, which is really cool. So I'm just going to have a slurp of my peppermint tea, although why I'm drinking hot peppermint tea in 24 degrees of heat, I'm not really sure. But, but yeah, I can have a nice cold drink when we're done. Oh dear. Right. Okay. So I am going to turn you around and then we are going to look at the papers and everything else. Oh no. I didn't bring. Oh yeah, I did. Underneath my iPad. I was panic then. I thought I hadn't brought my catalogue. I have. So I'll be able to show you the catalogue pages as well. Okay, so hang on for a second. I'm just going to turn you around and take my ears off so I won't be jingling. Right, let's turn that round like that. Put that there. Let's see what you guys can see. Okay. So Marion's saying 24 degrees isn't hot. I know, Marion. Seriously, I do know. But this is the UK. So, I love the warm, and 35 degrees is lovely as far as I'm concerned, so long as I can go inside to air conditioning and that kind of stuff. But 24 degrees inside in the UK, where we don't have any air conditioning, is quite warm. Okay, so... let's have a look. Let's see. See if we're all in shot and straight and all of that. Okay. Okay, so the Poinsettia place is on page 14 and 15. Sarah's saying it's 38 degrees in France. Have you got air conditioning though, Sarah? Or a pool or something? No aircon. Oh dear, you see. I think we're all going to have end up with aircon at some point. I really do. Okay, so let's look at this amazing suite. So these are the colours here. So you've got real red, old olive, garden green, bumblebee and soft suede. And this is really interesting to me. This is really interesting to me because I always make my poinsettias in cherry cobbler. So, I don't know. I mean, that's what colours, the real red is the colour that's in the paper. And the satin ribbon, the sheer ribbon, sorry, is also real red. So maybe I need to do different poinsettias. I can't do them different today because everything's cherry cobbler. Faye says she's got air conditioning at work and Sarah says no pool yet. Well, we've got nearly a pool. Which is where we're digging out the hole to put our patio. Okay, so we've got papers, we've got stamps and dies, I'll show you those in a minute. Plush Poinsettia specialty paper, which is like a flocked paper. I don't have that to show you, I'm afraid. Beaded pearls, I do have those to show you. These are so cool. Ooh, my phone is tilting. Hang on a minute. Let me see. Can you see those? Hopefully you can see those. I'm just going to tighten up my phone because I'm afraid it might just... That's weird. I don't know why that's... Right, hopefully... Hopefully that's okay. Right, okay, so these are really lovely. Again, like the acorns yesterday, these are quite heavy. And absolutely, if you're in the UK and you have large letter size post, it will definitely need to go in large letter. And absolutely, make sure you cover it with a piece of card when you're posting it. I don't have the ribbon either. You see, I don't buy everything. I buy lots of things, but not everything. So this is the stamp set. And it is beautiful. So this is hand drawn. So you've got a layered poinsettia here. You've got 3 poinsettia flowers. You've got 2 holly leaves. You've also got some berries. You've also got a bit of fir tree with a pine cone and then some lovely sentiments as well. So I'm going to come back to that page in a minute to show you the dies. And, oh, don't lose that. And I'm going to show you the papers. So, love this. This side, this is pretty. This is really pretty too. So you've got pine cones and poinsettias. You've got more poinsettias and then some leaves and berries. And then you've got some more berries. Oh, wood grain. So some more poinsettias and like a green tiled sort of effect. Pine cones. and green leaves, holly, and then a tiled thing as well. So, although this is designed to go with the poinsettias, there are lots of different patterns and things that can go with lots of different stamp sets. So that is really cool. Now, I'm just going to grab the dies before I put the papers away, because, right, so these are all the dies. There are a lot of dies, 18 dies, but let me just scootle them around. This one, this die cuts out, she says, turn it around, turn it around, turn it around, I think. Ooh, is it this one? Ah! I don't know now, I'm doubting myself. It cuts out one of the dies. Hang on. Cuts out one of the flowers. I don't know which one it is now. Is it that one? That's the one I've just had. Hang on. Must be that one. Yeah, it's got to be, it has got to be this one. So, you're just going to have to talk amongst yourselves. I'm sure I didn't dream this. Some images can be cut out using the poinsettia dies. First paper is the flower with no leaves attached to it. That one, Sarah? Oh, it's such a good job. I've got my awesome team here, because I'm just going to keep turning it round. Oh, I see. Found it. Found it, found it, found it, found it. I think. There. Yes. Okay, so I didn't dream it. Okay, so what Sarah was trying to say that I didn't get it, was so some of the poinsettias have leaves and branches attached to them, but this one, these ones that don't have any attachments are the ones that you can cut out. Okay, but that said, actually you can cut them out quite easily by hand because they're fairly straight lines. They're not really fancy wiggly lines. Okay, so let's just look at all these dies. So this is amazing. Okay, so we've got that wiggly one. Let me get my I'm going to play with this now for the next 10 minutes trying to work that one out. Anyway, so that one goes on there. I'm not going to keep going with that one. And then these three, you've got a die for each of them. Okay, so you can stamp them and then die cut them. So if you don't want to fussy cut, and I know some of you are adverse to fussy cutting, if you don't fussy cut, you can cut them with the dies. But they also have, like yesterday, these amazing embossing pieces. So there are three that go with these three, and I need to explain a couple of things. So the first thing is they're not symmetrical. So you will have to wiggle it around, turn it around, and chances are it'll be the last one that you turn it in, and then it will fit inside. Now you can, like yesterday, you can cut and emboss at the same time. That works really well. But be careful with these. They're sturdy, but this element here, coming into the centre, it's actually quite fragile. So when they come in the cases, they come with a cardboard sheet and then strips of glue. And the glue is really strong. So when you're lifting it off the glue, just be really careful with them so that you're lifting them off carefully. I don't keep that sheet in here because they stick to it and it annoys me. So I just let them be loose in the bottom. Sometimes I put magnetic sheet in. I haven't got any at the moment, so that's the way that they go. So let me just show you how one of those leaves, one of those sets of petals look. Now we need to have that discussion about poinsettias. So we tend to call these petals, but they're actually bracts, and they're not petals, they're actually part of the leaves. It's just that they're red bits, and the flowers are the tiny bit in the centre. So there you go. Okay, so that's those. So that's about 6 dies, 7 dies. Let's get those away, as otherwise I'll be tearing my hair out later trying to find them. And we've talked about that one. Okay, so then with the holly, you've got exactly the same with the holly. So you've got these leaves, these dies that cut out the holly, and you've also got the embossing bit as well. So they match and they match. Let me show you a holly leaf. So that works really nicely as well. And you know, holly leaves are just so useful for all things Christmas. That works really well. Okay, so that's those. And then you've got some decorative elements. So this is the first one. So there's no stamp. Let me move that out of the way. Oh, there's no stamp that goes with this. So this is just a little bit of foliage by Jackie. A little bit of foliage, which is going to look really nice under lots and lots of different flowers. Now, what I would say with little elements like this, if you get yourself a stamp case, and when you've got 5 minutes, you're watching, I don't know, watching something on the telly, do a bit of die cutting and die cut some of these little elements. And then you've got them in a case on your desk, so that when you're looking at a project and you think, oh, that needs just a little bit of something, you can just reach in there and get some of these little miniature decorative elements. So that's that one. So then you have got 2 of these. So you've got 2 of these little flowers, they're tiny weeny poinsettias. I'll show you what one looks like up close. So we've got 2 of those, and again, they make lovely decorative items as well. So Chris is sharing a top tip. She's got a small spatula in her toolbox for taking the dies off the glue. That way she's not likely to bend the finer pieces. So actually, Chris, on the Stamp and Pierce tool, this little spatula thing, that would work, wouldn't it? That's a great tip. So it's just to lever them off. Fab. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so we've got the 4 more dies to show you. I told you there were loads in there. So these are for the flower centres, and when I first looked at them I thought they were the same, but they are not. So this one cuts holes and this one embosses holes. So it makes lovely little centre. Right, put those to one side because I need those later. And then the last 2 are stamped images. So these 2, so that one cuts out there and that one cuts out there. Okay, so these are 2-step stamps. So you have got the berries here, and then the individual berries here. You've got these stamps here, and they're designed to go inside the centre of the poinsettia. You've got these elements, which will also go inside the poinsettia. So there's lots of different ways that you can stamp with this. So I am going to get a few stamps out and just show you a few little bits before I actually get onto the projects. So this stamp, this is the fir tree and a pine cone. So if you use your markers, and these are the Stamp and Write markers, they are water based, so that means that you can do this. Don't try and do this with your alcohol markers because it's not going to work. So I'm just colouring in using the flat edge of my marker. Just going to colour in the pine cone in Early Espresso. And then I've got Mossy Meadow here. And I'm just going to go over all of that. Give it a magic huff, which means I'm going to blow on it. The moisture in my breath will actually reactivate the ink. And then you can stamp it and get your leaves. Okay, so then for this one, all I did was I stamped the leaves and then I overstamped with the berries. So that's again a really quick way of getting different colours on your stamps. Okay, so let's put those dies away. And let's get on with some stamping. So does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to see anything? Do you want to see any of these layering stamps before I start on the other projects that I've got to show you today? I'll just have a slurp of my tea while you're waiting, or while I'm waiting. All quiet. Right, okay, so Val has shared that the berry die and the holly die, so that's the one that cuts out that one, and that one will also cut out the flocked elements on the specialty paper. Fab, thank you, Val. And I'm guessing actually it probably cuts out the poinsettia as well. So that same die. Brilliant. Thanks, Val. Okay. Right, so like I said, I'm going to start, all of my projects are in cherry cobbler. Because in my head, that is the colour of the poinsettia. So, there we go. So, I have got to go with my cherry cobbler today. This is the champagne foil. And quite often on Christmas cards and things, so Tuesday I was using silver foil. I often use silver and gold, but I like to change it up now and again, and this champagne foil has got a very pink tint to it, which works really well with the cherry cobbler. And this is such a simple card, perfect for my kind of stamping. Sarah says you're all behaving yourselves. I don't believe that for a minute. I think you could all get into trouble without even trying. So, I'm taking the big stamp, which needs a bigger block, but I don't have one. So we're just going to make do with what we've got. It's fine. And I am going to stamp just there. Anne's agreeing with me and cherry cobbler. So I didn't say, that's cherry cobbler ink. And this is one of the reasons that I love Stampin' Up so much. I mean, there are 100 reasons why I love Stampin' Up, but being able to stamp in cherry cobbler onto cherry cobbler cardstock to make that stand out as beautifully as that does, it just makes me happy. Okay, so that's one stamp, and I'm going to turn it around. Stamp again to make my poinsettia. I'm going to use my Merry Christmas, and I'm going to stamp that down, and then I've got a Mango Melody light blend, and I'm just going to go over the top of one of my rhinestones. And this is a tip for you if you've got lots of alcohol markers, or even Sharpie pens work actually, you can colour your rhinestones. So I'm just giving it a couple of coats just to make it shiny. And I'm going to get the inside, and one of the smaller poinsettia stamps, which is where there. And I'm going to do the same here. So I've got an inside, and what else did I need? Where's my Wink of Stella? So I've got the Wink of Stella, which we were playing with on Tuesday. What I don't want is very much of it, so I'm actually going to dry it quite a lot on my grid paper, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit there in the centre, and then use my finger and just bring it out. So what I'm actually doing is I'm pulling the mica so it just gives a tiny hint of colour, sparkle, just there. And then I am going to add a little rhinestone in the centre of all of that sparkle. And then we are going to assemble the card. So let's flip that over. Ooh. Card doesn't want to lift up today. So that's for the inside. Then we've got that layer on there. That layer on there, like so. So that is a super quick Christmas card. It's just stamping. We've got a little bit of sparkle in the centre there, and obviously the foil gives a nice element, a nice sort of edge to it. You can, of course, punch out the centres of the foil so that you know you've got a little bit more. You can use it a little bit more. I'm laughing at these colours. So the comments coming back that you can never have too much Wink of Stella, and that I'm making people want the stamp set. Yeah, it is really lovely. It is really lovely. So thank you. Right, I am just got ink all over my fingers now. Okay, so that is card number 1. Where is card number 2? So I learnt from yesterday and having to run downstairs to get card layers that I needed to make sure that I brought cardstock with me today. Now, Jackie, who's watching, sent me a message the other day which was about cutting cardstock to make mats and layers, and which is the best way to cut your cardstock, your A4 cardstock. So if you haven't seen it already, I have got a video both in centimetres and in inches about cutting card blanks and mats and layers. And basically I cut my A4 cardstock down, and apologies for those of you in North America, you have different paper sizes, so this just relates to the Europeans and the South Pacific guys who work in centimetres and have A4 cardstock. So I cut my cardstock down to 8 inches by 11.5, and then cut each one down to 5 3/4, and that's how I have this size card blank. So let me show you. So this, if you can imagine, this is an A4 sheet of card. I've cut 1/4 inch off here, off this side, because this was 8 1/4, and I've cut a smidgen, that's a technical term, I'm going to move it up so I'm completely in shot, a smidgen off the top, okay? So when I am cutting A4 card down into layers, I actually cut it in exactly the same way. So the first size layer that I have is this size, which is 3 3/4 by 5.5. So I cut a strip that is 3 3/4, and then I cut a second strip which is 3 3/4. And if we move that over like that and like that, and then you'll get a strip that's left at the edge and a strip at the bottom. Now those two strips are really useful. I use those for my sentiments all the time, so don't put them in the bin. So yeah, so that works really well. And then the next size down, let me move that out of the way. The next size down is 3.5, and this is where it gets a bit more interesting, because when you, so I cut at 3.5, so I cut 2 strips at 3.5, and then I cut there at 5.25 and there at 5.25. So you end up with a bigger strip here and a bigger strip here. It's only on the next size down that you can actually get them out both ways. So it's only on the next layer down that you will actually be able to do this. So I think, Jackie, that is what you were asking. And if it's not, put a message in the comments and I will try and explain better. So I always cut it this way. If you're using 12 by 12 card, there's lots of different ways you can cut it, but I always cut a strip and then cut it in half, that way. Okay. So what we are doing now is we are going to do a little bit of the 2-step stamping, but first I am going to look for my mat, which I've obviously just moved. Okay. So let me just get this out. I don't seem to be very organised with where all my stuff is today. It all seems a bit higgledy-piggledy. Right, so I'm just going to show you all of the poinsettias obviously can be coloured in, but what I wanted to quickly show you with the blends is how quickly you can pull that colour out. And every time I use blends, I know that you guys go and get some more. Because it is one of those things that until you actually see it, you don't realise how good they are. Okay, so I am not going to spend a lot of time colouring this in. But I'm just going to do a little bit just to show you pulling in the two colours together. I didn't used to like colouring in very much, basically because I wasn't very good at it. Blends make me feel like an artist because I can get shading and it works really well. So you can use either end to do your colouring in, but I really recommend that you use this bullet tip end for the blending, because if you use the soft brush tip, I'll show you in a second. So if you use the other end, which is the soft brush tip, it will actually bend and flex, and eventually it will mash, and it's just not good. So I'm just going over where that line was, and I'm just blending that colour in. Okay, so that is how quickly and easily you can get a beautifully coloured in set. Coloured in stamp. Right, I'm looking at the questions and I'm getting distracted, so hang on. Sarah said she saw a stamp set in the annual catalogue that said it's a hinge set. So Sarah, that means it's for hinge stamping with the Stamparatus. I can show you that, or if you go onto my YouTube video, onto my YouTube channel, Inspiring Inkin, and put in Stamparatus, there is a video there that showcases hinge stamping, and basically you move the stamp down. If you tell me which stamp set it is, that would be cool, and I'll see if I've got it and then I can show you. So Jackie, yes, you get four layers from an A4 sheet. So you always get 2 card blanks from an A4 and 4 layers. Yeah. Okay. So card number 2, she says, I am going to stamp in early espresso. In top 2 corners, or diagonally opposite corners. I'm going to go in with this Merry Christmas. And then we have got this. Now, let me explain. This 2-step stamp is actually designed to stamp over this one, but we can use it on this one as well. So, you know me, I like doing things differently. So I'm just going to ink it up, stamp it off, and stamp down, and again, and again. No! Look. Okay, shall we start that again? Let's start that again. Try not to get everything covered in cherry cobbler ink. Okay, right, so before I was getting distracted, I'm going to be using this stamp to fill in the flowers. So I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it around. So what I'm doing is I am giving this kind of a hint. It's a watercolory effect. I don't mind that it's going off. It's fine. I just want it to give a little bit of colour there. And we go again. So I know that some of you don't like colouring in. So this is working. Let's just pop a bit more down there. Okay. Now you can use, so I've got this little one here. So this is used for the medium size. And I've got the old olive ink. and I'm just going to put a tiny touch of this. I don't know whether you can see that actually. On a couple of these leaves. Because as we said earlier, with poinsettias, actually it's not all, it's all leaves, isn't it? It's not just flowers. You know what I'm trying to say. I think you know what I'm trying to say. I've done 3 lives this week. I'm not surprised that my words are all getting a bit fuddled. Right, so this is going to be the tricky bit now. Da, da, da. To go there. There we go. Okay. So I've got a little bit of colour there. I might have got another smudge there, but we're going to ignore that smudge. Put in the Merry Christmas. Then I'm going to get my blends and just colour in a little bit just to lift that centre there. And then I am going to just stamp the inside. Ooh. My beanbag that my iPad is on has fallen into the ink pad. Oh dear. Right, let's just close these up because this is a disaster waiting to happen. Move that out of the way. And I am just going to get my chamois, clean these stamps and clean my fingers before I pick anything else up. It is getting warm in here. I close the window. Normally I have the windows open, obviously, but when I'm filming I close the windows because it can get quite noisy outside. Right, so Old Olive, Cherry Cobbler again, and let's do this. Get it all laid up. Ooh. Now I'm getting glue everywhere. Oh! Do you know what? I'm going to have to remake this in a minute, but we will just go with it now. Look. It's okay. I've done it twice, I'm not going to do it 3 times. There will be pictures of this beautifully finished, but it won't be the same card. So, all I'll do is I'll just put that at a jaunty angle like that, you see, and then nobody will know. Nobody will ever know that there was a thumbprint on it. But there we go, there's my second card. So, this is quite grungy. You can, of course, where's that one that I coloured in? You can, of course, colour in these poinsettias beautifully if you wish. But if you don't wish to colour them in, you can use your stamps and fill them in. Yeah, everyone's saying put an embellishment over it. I could. I've got little bits that I could put on it, but I will probably just redo it because it'll annoy me. And I might actually put the Merry Christmas in Old Olive there. Maybe a tad too much cherry cobbler. We'll see. I'll play with it. You'll see the new version tomorrow. Okay, so that's 2 cards. 1 more to go. Just turn over my grid paper. And show you something in the catalogue. Oh, have a slurp of tea. Which actually now is cold. Yeah. Right, so here we go. Page 51, gold cards and envelopes. These are so cool. Okay. So they come in a pack. Don't know how many's in the pack actually. 10. These envelopes are so blingy. They are lovely. And I have to say, you might want to sacrifice one and use it to punch things out, because actually it's really nice. And you could then just use a vanilla envelope maybe. But this is so beautiful. And then this is the card blank itself. It's got gold foiling in the corners. It's really pretty. Let me turn this over to the inches side because you'll need to know how big they are. They are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So if you've got a 4 by 5 inch photo, that would go beautifully on there. But I'm actually going to play with this with some of the die cuts, because I haven't really given the die cuts very much love yet. So put those to one side. So yeah, so these are really nice, and they're substantial. So I tend to use coloured cardstock because it feels thicker than Whisper White cardstock. And we now have thick Whisper White and thick Very Vanilla card, and I use that for card blanks as well. And it's really interesting because the gram weight of Whisper White and our coloured card is the same, but the dye that they put into coloured cardstock kind of makes it puff up more. So that's why it feels thicker. So lots of people saying they missed them. Yeah, it's shiny though. That's why I found them, because it's shiny. So I have got the die cut elements from the Poinsettias from earlier. And what I've done is the largest one, I've cut one in Cherry Cobbler and one in Old Olive, going back to the whole thing about having the green underneath. Now what you do need to do is give them a bit of dimension before you stick them together, because as otherwise they're just going to kind of sit there all flat. So use your bone folder and pull them, and I put my thumb on the top and pull, and I'm really careful about holding just here because you'll pull them off. Ask me how I know that you'll pull the petals off if you do that. And I always curl them down. I don't know why. I just do. That's how I make my flowers. So I'm just going to do that on all of them. Now you can do so many different things with these. So obviously you could use a sponge daub around them. You can put Wink of Stella on them. I have done a little bit of Wink of Stella. Look at the state of my hands. Can't take me anywhere. Yeah, so you can put Wink of Stella on them if you want to. I have left these completely plain because I want the gold foil to kind of really be the star of the show. And I'm going to get my glue dots and dimensionals. So I'm going to use a dimensional on my first layer so that the cherry cobbler is raised up above the green. And then as you put the other layers on, more and more of the green will get covered up. But it's just nice to have a little bit there. And obviously you could use dimensionals all the way through, but it would make it very, very tall. Oh, Sarah's asking if I've embossed them. Yes, I have. So I did, I die cut them and embossed them. I'm hoping that the camera will be able to pick it up now. Yeah, so they're all die cut and all embossed. And then we're going to get one of those lovely pearls for the centre. And I think I'm probably going to put 2 or 3 glue dots on them. Oop. And then, so because I curled them down, where I'm going to press it down, they will sort of lift. Okay. I am then going to get that happy birthday. No. Oh dear. Should we try that again? I'm then going to get my Merry Christmas, but I've now lost my cleaner. And my cherry cobbler ink. And we're going to risk it, even though I've been a disaster, walking disaster so far with my getting ink smudges everywhere. And put my Merry Christmas down there. Let's just hope it's going to work. Yes. And then I'm going to put my poinsettia there with some more dimensionals to give it a little bit of support. And saying that you could use the dies all year round without the embossing. Yeah, absolutely. It would be beautiful to use them all year round. And you can get different coloured ones, pink ones and white ones. They're really, really lovely. So there you go. So there is my last card for today. Just using the dies and just one stamped sentiment. There are so many ways that you could bling this up. You know, you could add Wink of Stella, you could use foiling, you could heat emboss. But for me, I always try to make sure that the Christmas cards that I'm making are quite easy to replicate because quite often we have quite a few of them to make. So I think that it is really, you know, it's something that you can take time over, but it's not going to take hours and hours and hours. So let me see if I've got any more questions whilst I gather the other cards together. So there's the splodgy one. There's that one that's kind of going to hide. Oh, I'll leave it like that. Nobody will notice. Actually, let's do it that way round, because then that's the order in which that we made them. Oh, so Belinda's saying she's wondering if they would also look good on the Memories and More cards and envelopes with the red foil frame. So, Belinda, let me look and see. So, I'm going to go, you know I gave you this tour of the catalogue. I'm going to go to the back of the catalogue and go to look at that and go, okay, that's on page 31. It's genius. I love it. Made my life so much easier that I don't have to go through every single page. So these ones here, so they're called Wonder of the Season, Memories and More cards and envelopes, and these are a bit bigger actually, so these will take 4 by 6, so the centre part will take a 4 by 6. So if you've got a photograph that you want to put on there, that would fit there as well. And there's 20 card bases and envelopes, and it's saying red foil. And that's interesting because in this suite, the colours are real red and cherry cobbler. So I'm wondering whether, so either the real red or the cherry cobbler poinsettia would work. So yes, it would work. That's a good thing, Belinda. Thank you for sharing that. Val's saying she'd not noticed the foil cards. That's another thing for the need it list. Absolutely. We all have our lists, don't we? And mine grows all the time. And I just love to see what everyone's making with things and think, oh, I could do that and I could do that. It's just a wonderful thing to share. So, what did I have to say to you before we go? So, I mentioned this on Tuesday, and then I sort of mentioned it yesterday, but I'm mentioning it today again. Let me just tidy up this camera, it's leaning again. So, I'm running a prize draw, and there are 3 prizes. And the prizes are these really cute Stampin' Up! Trimmers. So these trimmers were an exclusive gift when people joined during Celebration, but Stampin' Up! Allowed demonstrators to buy some. So you can't buy this, you have to be a demonstrator to be able to get hold of them. So I have 3 of them that I'm going to give away. So in order to be part of the prize draw, you just have to leave a comment. So if you've been here over the last few days and you've left a comment on Facebook, that's fabulous, and you will already be entered into the draw. If you're watching this on the replay, so that can be either over on my blog or on YouTube on the replay, I will be collecting up all of the comments across all of the platforms, and I will do the draw on Monday, which I believe is the 10th. Can somebody confirm that for me? Because I can't actually, I can't go out of the screen to be able to check. I believe it is the 10th, Monday the 10th of August 2020 at 6 p.m. So in order to be in the prize draw, you need to have made a comment by then. Or you can email me, and that's amanda@inspiringinkin.com, and I will enter you into the draw. And I know lots of people have been commenting today, actually did that yesterday because they were watching the replay. So if you want to be entered into the draw, then you've got until Monday the 10th of August 2020 at 6 p.m, and that's UK time. And then I will announce the winners on Tuesday's Craft and Chat at 2 next Tuesday, which will be the 11th. Marion, thank you very much for confirming the date. That's really good. So let's have a look at the comments. Thank you for all your lovely comments saying how lovely the cards are. Ros has missed us because the grandchildren have come round. She loves the cards. That's good. You can watch it on replay, Ros. But I bet you got some lovely grandbaby hugs, so that's good. Lynn's still waiting to play with the set. She likes the stamping instead of the colouring in the middle card. Yeah. So, like I said, sometimes you just don't want to do colouring in. And, you know, it's the same with this card as well. You know, there's no colouring in there. Sheridan loves the cream and gold card. It looks classy. Oh, thanks, Sherry. Good. Lots of love from you all. Thank you. You make my heart full. So I am going to love you and leave you. Do get in touch with questions. Like Jackie had questions about cutting mats and layers. Sarah was talking about the hinge stamping technique. If you've got any kind of card making or paper crafting questions, then please email me or send me a message so that I can answer them in Craft and Chat, because I would love to do that. I do not have the skills in order to answer the sourdough questions though, because as we've already established, my sourdough skills are not good. Oh, Debbie, I'm so sorry that you're in hospital. I hope you are getting better. Sending hugs. Lovely to hear from you. Jackie's saying you just need to comment somewhere, Jackie. Just comment somewhere. So it doesn't matter where you comment, and you've just commented now, so that's enough to get you entered into the draw. Carol's interested in the hints for cutting layers. So they're on YouTube and on my blog, so go either place. And if you just type in Inspiring Inkin Mats and Layers, you will see the video, and there's a PDF as well which is on my blog, which has all the layers, sizes of the layers, and basically I go down 1/4 inch each time, and it means I don't blink when I've got the next layer, because I know exactly what size it is. It just makes my crafting so much easier. Brilliant. I'm so pleased that you have enjoyed the last 3 days. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all on Tuesday at 2. Take care till then. I'll see you then. Bye bye.